McIntyre intro at the beginning had to be done, I'm afraid. Welcome to my review of Uncharted 4: A Thief's End for the PlayStation 4. Got this game about a week and a half ago. I've not stopped playing it since. I've just finished the storyline. Took me about 12-15 hours, much like Ratchet and Clank did actually, and it's blown me away. It's blew everything that I come to expect of this franchise out of the water and made me think about how they could top this with maybe another Uncharted if they ever decide to do one. I doubt they will after this, but you know, if they do continue, maybe do a spin-off or whatever, it's always a possibility. Now, just going to go into a bit of backstory about this. I first started playing Uncharted at Uncharted 3 actually when I first got a PlayStation 3. Borrowed it off of a friend, and it really surprised me of how like you were playing a movie. It's like the only game I can think of like you're actually playing a movie, and it's just fantastic. And so I went back and I bought the Uncharted collection. I played 1 and 2 just before this came out, just to get me all hyped and everything like that. And this one is it's by far the best one. Everybody says that number 2 is or number 3 is, but I can definitely say that this is the best one as far as storytelling, graphics, gameplay. It's just so goddamn good, and it's really worth your money, even if it is just for that 12 to 15 hours time that you spend with it. I might go back and play this again at one point. Who knows? Because it's really a good game. So, just want to talk to you about the story first. I'm not going to get into any spoilers. The first 5 chapters are basically introducing you to the character Sam Drake, who is Nathan Drake's long-lost brother, who was supposedly killed 15 years before the events of this game, and Nathan Drake had thought he'd been dead, hence why he didn't mention him in any of the previous Uncharted games. He just wanted to repress that memory. So the first 5 chapters are basically world building and lore building and introducing you to the character of Sam Drake and making him fit all nice and neatly into the storyline. And the story goes that there's this, basically Sam had been in prison for a very long time, in a Panamanian prison I think it was, and this drug lord Alcazar I think busted him out of prison, and there was talks in the cell about him, when he gets out he's going to find the long lost treasure of Henry Avery, which is a pirate, and talking to him about it. So he busts him out, but in return he has to find the treasure for Alcazar for him, and he's given a deadline, otherwise he's coming to kill him. So he needs Nathan Drake's help in order to go find this treasure. But unfortunately for him, Drake is in retirement because he doesn't want to do this life anymore. He's done this life so much that he's just had enough of it, and he wants to settle down with Elena and have a normal family life and a normal family job, which he's having. And Sam kind of forces him into this corner where he's like, oh no, you got to be the one to do it, you're the best one to do it, and it's reuniting that spark. And Nathan Drake goes off without Elena knowing to all these different countries like Scotland and Madagascar and everything, all the places like that, and just to find this treasure or find clues. And hot on their tail is another treasure hunter, which called Theif, who's backed up by the Shoreline Army because he's like a Richie Rich kind of character. And he used to work with both the Drake brothers back in the day, so there's a bit of a history between them two, and Sully gets in the mix as well. It's just such a good storyline, really simple to understand and really simple to get a hold of. You don't need to know any like lore or backstory. I reckon that if you've never played an Uncharted game before, I think you might be able to pick this up for the first time without playing any of the others and be like, yeah, I get this. It's well written. It's definitely well written. Yeah. So let's talk about gameplay now, alongside the story side of everything, which is pretty much driving this entire game forward, and the gameplay really does complement the story as well. It's pretty much your everyday Uncharted game. You've got your running, you've got your gunning, you've got your puzzle solving inside the tombs, and you've got your climbing as well and everything like that. But there are 2 new mechanics to this game, which is the rope swinging. Now, in the past, you haven't been able to swing on cliffs, like back and forth, but never have you been able to grab hold of, yeah, exactly like that, grab hold of your rope, toss it across, and then swing from one place to the other to get to different cliffs as well. And I did just perfect timing. I just did that on the video here. But and another thing is this game is very, it's suggestive. It's not heavily focused on stealth, but it's kind of suggested that you do take the stealth approach at times, because there are times where you'll be in an area with like 15 odd guys, maybe even more than that, and the only way to take them down is to hide in the tall grass and tag them, which is the first time you can do that. You can tag them Metal Gear style just to see where they all are at certain points, and you can take them out by just breaking them, coming back behind them and doing stealth kills or anything like that. And it's a really tense, really like cool way, because they can see. If they can see you, then they flash up yellow and they go, "Oh, what was that?" And then they start searching for you even more, like a Metal Gear game would. Now, also you'll be collecting collectibles along the way, which are pretty much like hidden treasures in the environments and in the areas, which are very, very hard to find. You really got to keep like your eyes open for stuff like that, because they will glint in the on the floor or wherever they are. And it's very hard to miss. There's about 100. There's 100 plus treasures to find. I only found about 10 throughout the entire game. So I've got to go back and find some more, obviously, for those achievements and the trophies if I feel like it. Oh, and also you'll be jumping back and forth towards the beginning and maybe a little bit towards the end of like flashback sections of when Nathan and Sam were kids, and like it builds on that too. Like where were their parents? How did Nathan Drake end up in that other country in Uncharted 3 where he met Sully? And it kind of just explains a lot of like how they got to that point and everything. It was very well done, and it builds on both Nathan and Sam's character. Very good. I do like it. Now, I can't not talk about an Uncharted game, or any Naughty Dog game for that matter, without mentioning the visuals. They have done it again. They did it with The Last of Us on the PS3, where they just blew everybody away with how impressive it was, and they've done it yet again on Uncharted 4. I don't really need to say much for this. The graphics kind of just speak for itself. It's the best looking game on PS4, without a doubt, of the year, and I dare to challenge any other game this year that can beat the standard that Uncharted 4 has set, or the bar that it has set. Especially in like the facial animations as well. When in certain cutscenes or anything like that, you can see, I don't know, little twitches of the muscles and stuff like that, just to show like emotion or anything like that, or portray emotion in certain scenes. And it really, I don't know how to describe it. It's just something you just kind of got to see for yourself and just be blown away by. Also, the way it goes from cutscenes to gameplay, from gameplay to cutscene, it's a really smooth transition, and sometimes I don't even notice it. It's just that good. And also the different environments of the game as well. Like I said before, you'll be going to places like Scotland, and here I'm in Madagascar for this video as well, and other places as well. It really does bring out, like, I don't know, like the vibrancy of the of that like environment as well. When it makes every area has its own character, and it's like here, for example, like you're in the hot sun, whereas in Scotland, which was in the clip before this one, it's all snowy, it's all cold, harkening back to Uncharted 2, and you'll jot around between environments for the first half of the game, and when you have found the location of the treasure, you'll spend the rest of the half of the game on that island, which is great in itself. It's kind of harkening back to Uncharted 1 as well, where you just stay on one island and stuff like that, and it's really cool. Good work, guys. I also just quickly want to touch on the audio for this game as well. The musical score is fantastic as always. It sets the scene perfectly for what you're doing. Like if you're just wandering around the real wilderness, there'll be no music at all. But if you're running from an enemy, or driving away from like a big old tank or whatever, and the music is booming and everything like that. It sets it perfectly as well. But and like if you get spotted as well, it's just, it feels like an Uncharted game, and it feels like that you're in a movie again, which is fantastic. And everybody who's done voiced an Uncharted character before, all the main ones I think, like Nolan North and Troy Baker, who's doing Sam. Sorry, I had a bit of a brain fart. Who's doing Sam Drake this time as well? They do their roles, and their chemistry between each other is fantastic, as well as your banter between Sully and all of the voice actors do a fantastic job as always do. And it really does feel like one last hurrah for Nathan Drake. And you can kind of feel it in their voice as well. If that might sound like a weird thing to say, but you know. Last but not least, I just want to go with some of the cons that I found in this game. It was really, really hard to find cons in this game, believe you me. And I kind of feel like I'm nitpicking the game when I do mention some of these cons I've got right here. But there was a certain glitch that I found in the game. It was like halfway through. I think it was the demo bit that they played at E3, where I actually got stuck in a crate and I couldn't get back out again. And I had to restart that checkpoint all over again, and I lost all that little bit that I was doing. But other than that, I found no glitches at all. Maybe that was just me getting unlucky there, just from where I was at the moment. Also, the first 7 chapters or so, they kind of feel like a tutorial because there's so much going on. You're jumping back and forth between different timelines. Like the first little bit, you're kids, and then how you got into that, how Sam and Nathan got into that jail, and then like now you're in the present day. There's a lot of tutorial stuff, and there's a lot of world building, and it's just, I don't mind the world building or building of the lore. I'm all up for that, but it definitely still feels like a tutorial, and I wasn't up for that because I already knew what I was doing, and yet the game was still reminding me, oh, you can press L1 to throw your rope, or oh, you can punch a guy with square, or something like that, you know. And also, I didn't like the fact that there was no music for the title screen. Like at the beginning of the video, you saw that it was just a guy a skeleton hanging in a cage with no Uncharted 4 or Thief's End, or no music, all the iconic music that they have. It's just silence with that pirate guy hanging from a cage, and I didn't feel like that's what the last Uncharted game kind of deserved. I thought to myself, oh yeah, maybe if you complete the game, maybe it'll come up. But no, that's exactly how it is all the way. Or maybe I need to complete on a different difficulty. Who knows? But I'm missing that, and it didn't, because all the others had it, and I don't know. Maybe that's like my biggest nitpick there, that the title screen didn't have any music or a logo or anything like that. And I know this is the formula for Uncharted and any Uncharted game, but it felt occasionally predictable. And what I mean by that is, like, you be at a certain point. So say you've just fought off a load of enemies and you had this big old action sequence, and you'll be like, okay, well now I know what's going to happen. Everybody's going to calm down, and we're going to go into some kind of temple, or we're going to do some puzzle solving and everything like that. And then you'll be like, okay, after that there's going to be a big action sequence, and then it's going to throw me here and throw me there. I'm not saying that it's predictable in the sense of the story, because the story does take a few twists and turns, which I'm definitely not going to spoil, but it did have me like open-jawed at some point. But I don't know, the formula just feels very like either you're in an action sequence or either you're doing puzzle stuff. And I don't mind that because it does it very well, but it does feel like, really, come on, throw me a curveball at one point, which is nice because like on here, thanks for reminding me, they do have little little vehicle sections like they do in the car or the boat or whatever, but I don't know, it's either you're in an action sequence or you're not, and sometimes that bothered me, but it was good enough to keep me interested. At the end of the day, guys, I'm going to give this game about a 9, maybe a 10 out of 10, and it's definitely going to be one of the Game of the Years for me, maybe even the Game of the Year, depending on how No Man's Sky it turns out to be. So if you like my reviews, I may do a review later on in the weeks or so on a certain game, who knows. And if you like my content, then just keep So like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll keep you updated with more info in the future. Take care. Bye for now.